everybody, I'm Laurie and welcome to this tutorial on drawing in the Grand Theft Auto 5 style. I got a lot of requests to do this tutorial, so I hope you enjoy it. So you can see that I've already done a few important steps. I have a sketch and I also put down some of the flat colors. And you can also notice that I put the colors on separate layers. So the hair is on a layer and the shirt is on a layer. But then I also have the skin color on different layers too. So I have the face on a layer, the body, like the ear and neck on a layer, and then I have her hand on a separate layer. And that's sort of just going to keep everything really nice, clean, and simple. Another reason is because if you ever look at Grand Theft Auto 5 art, they have everything outlined. So what we're going to do is come over here and right click on the layer, and I'm just going to start with the bottommost layer, which is the body layer. I'm going to right click it, go to blending options, and then once this little window pops up, we're going to come over here to stroke, and that's going to give this black outline. But we're actually going to click on it so that these options pop up. And right now it's at 3 pixels, and I'm actually going to change it to 1 pixel so it's a little bit thinner. Hit OK. So we're going to do that for all of our layers, and to quickly do that we're actually just going to right click on the layer again, copy layer style, then I'm going to click on the bottommost layer that doesn't have any of the effects on it, hold shift and then click the top one, right click again, and then paste layer style. See, so now you can see everything is encased in a black outline. So we can just go ahead and hit all these arrows up to make them a little bit smaller. Okay, so now that we have everything sort of set up, we can start painting. And what we're going to do is start with the darkest color that we have. And I'm going to make a new layer, right click it, and make it a clipping mask. This is going to allow us to draw on the face without worrying about getting color on anything else. So you can see I'm coloring on the face, but it's not getting on the ear, hair, or neck. Alright, so what we're going to do is just start going in and putting down the darkest color. And in my reference, the light source is coming from down here. So I'm going to put in the darkest colors right around the eyes here. And then I'm going to put a dark color here on the other side of her eye. And I'm sort of just slowly building up the darkness, and if it's too dark, don't worry about it. We're kind of just going to throw down the colors for now, and then we're going to blend it out and smooth it out later. So with the next color, I'm going to basically kind of just color in this half of her face, because like I said, the lighting is coming from down here. So basically this half of her face is just in kind of darkness. Okay. Alright. Make my brush a little bit smaller, kind of get the little curve of her nose there, get a little bit under her lip. And I'm going to add a little bit more over here. Alright, that's good for now. And now I'm going to take the second lightest color, and I'm going to make this a little bit bigger and kind of just throw this down here on this side of her face. Get the next lightest and just highlight a few parts. Okay, that looks a little bit better, but it doesn't really look like a face that much, and it definitely doesn't really look like a Grand Theft Auto style painting. So what we're going to do is this. You can kind of see where colors meet, and it looks really choppy and messy and everything. So what we're going to do is get our eyedropper tool, which is right here, and we're sort of going to color select in between each color. So you can kind of see this darker color and then this slightly lighter color here, and you can see where they blend together a little bit. So we're going to select that, make our brush a little bit bigger, and then just carefully color that over the edge that the two colors kind of create. You can turn down the opacity of the brush to make this easier, because you kind of want to build up the color slowly. You don't want to overdo it too quickly. So I'm just going to start doing that and try to get the curviness of her cheek a little bit, because you kind of want things to be smooth but not really too smooth. Like, I noticed that in Grand Theft Auto style painting that they're not really completely smooth. Like, they have a little bit of the brush strokes left in them. So let's just go ahead and smooth out all the colors, and this is probably going to take the longest time. But once you get this down, you can pretty much do any part of the body. So you'll be able to do the neck easily and the hair. I basically feel like if you can paint a face, you can paint anything. That's just me. So let's start with the eyes, and I'm just going to take my pen tool again, and I'm going to draw in her eyelashes. So it's basically just like a really crisp kind of line, kind of following the shape of the upper line of her lid, and you can make it as thick or thin as you want. I'm gonna make hers a little bit thicker, so let's see how that looks. Okay, alright, that looks good. So we're just gonna go ahead and do it to the other side. Okay, you can see how I just put flat colors down for the eyes, and we're going to select this kind of pinky gray color, and that's going to be the inner corners of the eyes. And this is a little detail I noticed that the people over at Grand Theft Auto at Rockstar, they include the pinkiness of the inner corners. So we're just going to color that in a little bit and make sure the ends are a little bit blended in with the rest of the eyes. And then this highlight color, we're just going to kind of draw, like, try to keep it circular to keep like it looking like an eye. And I'm going to concentrate this color like over on the left because that's where my light source is coming from. And this isn't gonna have too much light just because it is kind of in the dark with like her hair and everything, so I'm not gonna worry too much about that. As long as you kind of get like the shape of the eye, and you can actually take this brown a little bit and very carefully just help put that color down. I'm actually going to make a little bit of a darker version of the color that we just made, or the color that we put down for like the overall eye color. And I'm going to put it on the outer corner of the eye, and then also in the inner corner. There we go. Just so that we can have a little bit more definition in the eye. That looks pretty good. So for this, I'm actually just going to get the ellipse tool. Oops, what is this? Alright. Ellipse tool, and kind of follow the sketch I made. I'm not very good at drawing circles, so that's why I'm doing this. And you can have her, like, the eyes colored whatever you want. I think I'm gonna have her eyes, yeah, I think like a grayish color would actually look kind of nice with like her purpley hair. I don't know why her hair is purple, but I think it would look kind of cool with like gray eyes and purple hair. I don't know why. Alright, there we go. People number one. Alright, you can just hold shift and drag that over. And people number two. Alright, Control D to deselect. Go like that. Alright, those look like eyeballs to me. That looks pretty good. Alright, I'm actually going to get black. I just hit D to bring up the black color, or you can just hit this little symbol right here. I'm going to get the ellipse tool again and draw like a smaller circle. It might look a little weird, but I mean, don't worry about it. We're going to shade it and it's going to look awesome. Alright, so you can just go ahead and select the color that you made the iris, and then you can just get like a darker version. I'll just bring it down. Alright, that looks good. Get your brush. We're going to come up here and turn on the transparency lock, and now we're going to color in kind of like a circular motion. Alright, and there really isn't too much detail in the eyes here, but this is something that I kind of just like doing, is putting like a little bit of highlights and everything. Highlights, and then like shadows. Make this brush like really small, kind of just go like that. Alright, and it would be good, like, you can take the darkest color and kind of just gently color the rims, and there you go. Alright, that actually I like that. Alright, you can unlock it, and on the pupil we're gonna come over here. You can either hit X, or you can hit like these little arrows to bring up the white to be your foreground color, and then wherever the light's coming from, you can kind of just draw like a little glare. There we go. Right, that one's not going to be as prominent because it's like little. Alright, looks good so far. Okay, so another thing that I noticed is that they have like the bottom rim has like the same kind of like eyeliner line, except it's like a dark brown. So we're just going to draw that in real quick. I'm just going to fill that in with that, see how it looks. The eyes look okay for now. I want to draw in the rest of the face before I really worry too much about how the eyes look. So let's go in and start putting in with a little bit of the details for the nose. The nose kind of has the same sort of lines as the eyes do. So I'm actually going to change this layer to face lines because I don't like having too many layers. I kind of like to keep as little as I can, though I like having everything on like different layers, so it's kind of like, what? Okay, so we're just going to put in thin lines for the nose, and we're going to color these in brown once we are done. Should I? No, I think the top of the nose I'm just going to do by I'm going to define just by coloring it. I'm not really going to make like a line for it. Okay, so I'm going to get black and kind of follow the shape of her nose holes. Alright, so I did make a new layer, and that's just in case I don't like it. I can just delete it, or I can put the transparency color on and actually color select for the brown, but make it like a darker brown, and then color over it. Okay, so now we're gonna do the lips, and we're gonna make a new layer above like the face color, and make sure it's like by itself. It doesn't have to be clipped to anything. And I'm actually just going to fill in the lips just like this. And since her mouth is open, I'm also going to select like the inner, like the part where her mouth kind of opens, and select it. And then we're going to right click, make selection, and 0 feather radius, okay? And just hit delete. That clears it out. There we go. And now we have a slightly opened mouth. Okay. Alright, so I changed the layer to lips, and I'm going to turn the transparency lock on, and I'm going to take the darkest color and start contouring the lips. And then the parts closer to the teeth will be darker too. Alright, I'm going to take a little bit of a lighter color and kind of start highlighting a little bit. Alright, I'm not going to put too much detail in because I don't really want her to look like she's wearing like lip gloss or anything. Alright, I'm actually probably going to have to find like a darker color. Some more depth. Alright, there you go. Depth is always good. You don't want your art to look flat, right? Unless that is what you're going for, which is fine. Kind of just grabbed a random light color and kind of just put in teeth real quick. So I'm going to change that layer name to teeth and start off with white, but we're actually going to kind of get like a grayish. Alright, and I'm just going to start adding in shadows for the teeth, and I'm actually just going to color it all gray. And focus the darkness sort of around the edges where the lips are, and then towards the center, that's kind of where the light's coming in, so it's going to be a little bit lighter. And I'm also drawing a little line down the middle as a tooth. And I hate doing this, it always turns out looking buck tooth, and I just suck at it. And actually, I think I want to draw on eyebrows because she's looking a little cray cray. So, and I'm actually going to make a new layer just so that it's not really going to affect the face too much. So and these we're just going to draw in because if you use the pen tool, it's actually going to look a little too harsh, and the eyebrows actually do look kind of painted. Okay, that looks good enough. That's what it's all about. That's good enough. I'll work on it later. I don't really like focusing too much on one thing at a time, because sometimes it'll just frustrate you. So it's good to kind of just bounce around a little bit. Okay, so now we're going to start actually working in the detail. So now that we have our eyes and nose and like the placement of the mouth and everything, now we can actually go in and kind of focus on the rest of the face. So how we're going to do that is first work on around the eyes. So we need to have the eyelid look a little bit more circular, so I'm actually going to take the darkest color again and kind of draw in her, like the top of her eyelid. And I'm going to take some of this part, some of this eyelid color, so like the lighter brown color section over here actually, and kind of bring it out a little bit, and then, alright. So I just brushed this lighter color over the dark line, and that kind of made it fade away a little bit. And now I'm going to use the colors that I put down earlier and just blend a bit more. The skin looks a bit blotchy, so I just want to make sure that the skin tone looks even and a bit more blended. And when I say that the brush strokes are visible in the painting, I'm basically saying that there is a bit of texture in the painting. So with the type of brush we're using, it'll give a nice texture left over that sort of looks like we're using a real brush. So now I'm just adding a bit more shadow to the side of the face to contour and bring in more depth. And remember the technique I told you about blending the colors. Basically, you just want to select a middle tone between two colors that you want to blend together, and sort of use it to color over where the two colors meet, and that sort of makes a little bit more of a gradient and makes it seem like the colors are blending in together. Okay, so the hair is going to be really easy, and this is all we're going to do. We're going to select the hair color that we have, and we're going to get one darker version of it and then one lighter version of it, and then we're going to create a new layer, right click, and create a clipping mask. So again, we're going to start with the darkest color that we have, and we're just going to start placing where the shadows are going to be. So I'm going to have shadows down here. Her hair is sort of going up and around, so we're going to have a little bit of that shape here. And the good thing about this is that it can be messy. It doesn't have to be perfect, and it's like a really fun and easy way to do hair. So I'm just gonna make it a little bit smaller and kind of start drawing in the streaks, and this is sort of just going to allow you to figure out where the hair is going, in which direction, and just where it's gonna lay. Alright, so I'm going to make my brush even smaller and get a little bit more of the detail. So again, we're going to do the exact same thing we just did by making the strands of hair, but this time we're just making it with a smaller brush so that it looks a little bit more detailed. Make sure you're drawing in the direction you want the hair to go. So if it's coming down, make sure you're drawing down. If it's going outward, like over here, make sure you're drawing it outward. So now we're going to switch over to our lighter color and just make it a little bit bigger, and we're just going to gently put in a little bit of the highlights. You can actually bring down the opacity if you want, and then just start slowly building up some of the color. So we have a little bit of the detail of the hair strokes, but now we're sort of just lighting it up and showing a little bit of highlight. You can actually bring it over here too. Alright, so we're just going to start off with a little bit for now, and let's just go ahead and make our brush really little like we did last time and start drawing in more strands of hair. Okay, so now I'm going to take black and bump up the contrast just a little bit more. Sure you can actually see the detail of the strands too. So the lighter parts are actually a lot more subtle with details, sort of like what we're doing with like putting in the dark strands first and then going over it with the lighter color. That kind of makes the detail a little bit more subtle. And that actually looks pretty good. So I feel like if you can do these two things, drawing the hair and then drawing the face, you'll be able to capture the Grand Theft Auto style art pretty well. This style is mostly about technique, so once you get like this painted kind of cartoon technique down, you'll be able to draw anything. And like I said, I really believe that if you can draw a face, you can draw anything, because faces are typically one of the most hardest things to draw. So let me just show you what it looks like once you use this technique to complete an entire painting. So this is what it looks like after a few hours of work using the technique that I just showed you. This took me about 4 hours to do. So once you get used to the technique that I just showed you, you'll be able to paint all of it. I feel like it's pretty easy to pick up, and it's pretty fun because you're basically just starting out very messy and then just tightening up and smoothing everything out. So I really hope this tutorial helped you. If you have any more questions or have any more suggestions for future tutorials, please let me know, and good luck, and I'll see you next time. Bye!